I guess I'm live. Peace and blessings. This is Sister Heaven, Priestess Heaven, and I'm coming to you just to give a quick little message of encouragement to our young girls, our young ladies, my young sisters. I am the mother of two wonderful, exquisite young ladies who have experienced growing up with me. The reason I say that is because I had them at a young age, as determined by society. When you look at biblical times, it was 13 years old and 14, 15 years old, but we're in a different time, a different age. Now, as glad as I am that my daughters are my daughters, it still pains my heart when I walk out in the street and I notice the young ladies, the young sisters who are just being tossed up and tossed away. And then being labeled and deemed certain words that I prefer not to use, certain attributes that are not very becoming, so we wouldn't call them attributes, but we have in this day gotten to the point where we're doing waist cinching and we're getting breast implants and our lips done and we're bleaching our skin and we're getting tummy tucks and booty tucks and, fake lashes, fake nails. It's just really confusing to a young woman who is growing up. And these are all things that are accepted. So when you see a young girl and she has gone from being 14 to 24 in a matter of a year, the only people we can look at, sisters, is ourselves. We can't blame the schools. We can't blame the churches. We can't blame anyone because we are, if no one else is responsible for our little sisters, we are. Yes, we are. Now, some you won't reach, but some you will reach if you attempt. I'm not here to bash anyone. I am just telling you as I see it spiritually. I'm not speaking religion. I'm not speaking church, synagogue, mosque, temple, none of those things. Because if those buildings burn down, where will you go? Where will you go? It is time for us to be responsible for ourselves first, number one. And then with being responsible for yourself, you start to emit an air of confidence, an air of due diligence, an air of respect, an air of entitlement. And our little sisters, I'm speaking all young ladies, but I'm melanated, you see. And a lot of melanated sisters are going through a struggle. 16 years old and two babies, former social worker. So I've seen a whole lot of things that I did not want to see. I believe that it's time, it's way past time for us to stop talking about change and being change. And the home that I live in is a historic landmark, and a lot of slaves came through here. Some of the spirits are still walking around in this home. And we had to have a conversation and, the not so positive spirits had to go. And all of the loving, supporting, strong, empowering spirits, they were more than welcome to stay. Now, with saying all of that, I'm saying that we as women, as sisters, we can sit and talk all we want to about what we're doing in the community and what we're changing. Listen, we ain't done nothing. We have not done nothing. Sojourner Truth, you know what I mean? Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, the list can go on and on and on and on. Those women were spiritual gangsters. They were boss chicks, quote unquote. They feared nothing, and if they did, they didn't show it. They didn't apologize for anything. Nothing. And so we wait for a nonprofit status. Not everyone, but a nonprofit status Here where I live, there's a lot of that. You got to be a nonprofit in order for someone to go out and help in the community. They want photo ops and to be in a newspaper. And, children can smell a lie. Children can smell falsehood. So if you come to them, be sincere. Be ready to engage in a mental joust, because they're quick. They're quicker than I was. And they're unafraid and unapologetic. I was at the bus stop one day and I heard these older women, sages, elders, beat up on this little girl who had on a little mini skirt, a little low cut top, had her little colorful weave-in, and I mean, the things that they were saying to this young girl. So immediately, because I'm the person that I am, and I've been born this way and spiritually bred this way, to help defend the defenseless. You know what I'm saying? Because this little girl is only emulating what it is that she has seen. Because this is a trend world that we live in. If it's trending to get a septum put in your nose, I guess that's what it's called, then that's what you'll do. If it's trending to put a nose ring in your nose, that's what they'll do. If it's trending to put your waist cincher on so you can have the fake Coca-Cola shape, that's what we do. If it's trending to get fake locks in our hair and color them, that's what we do. If it's trending to have a baby with someone outside of a race so your baby can have good hair, that's what we do. So this little girl did exactly what it is that she has been seeing. So practice makes it perfect. You understand? So at the age of 16, she looked like she was about 15 or 16. She was perfect in her 36-year-old imagination. So with these women beating up on her, you could see it just slowly picking away at her, picking away at her, picking away at her. So me being who I am, I went over, I didn't say anything to the little girl. I went over to the older women and whispered, "What did you do when you were a child? Didn't you go to the jig and to the, what did they call it? What did they call those houses? The speakeasies? Didn't you do all of that in the Cotton Club? And weren't you dressed promiscuously according to your parents? Didn't you disrespect the elders at your time?" Now, if you say no, okay, you say no. But somebody in your age group did. One of the four of you did. In some type of way, somebody thought you as a youth was disrespectful. So instead of beating up on this little girl and talking about her as if she were trash, why don't you grab her up and love up on her and tell her about your experiences that you had with dressing that way? The type of relationships and situations that you ran into dressing that type of way. The insecurity that you truly felt dressing that kind of way. How you followed trends and followed behind your friends and how you emulated what you had seen. Why don't you start there? And they apologized. And I said, you need not apologize to me. You do need to, or I suggest you go and apologize to this young girl. And I walked off. I walked away. The next time I saw the little girl, I didn't even know who she was. See, this is the great thing about when you follow spirit. When you do as God, as the Lord, as the universe, as Isa, Jesus, whoever you follow and practice in the positive light, as soon as you do what it is that you are ushered or issued to do, you forget about it. You let it go. And then the blessing is it comes back to you. And here's the dope piece. You don't even remember what you did. You be like, what? The little girl was like, "Oh, thank you so much. Do you remember me?" "No, sweetie, I don't." "You're welcome. I don't need to know what I did for you or to you, what I said to you. I don't know." And my job was to do what it was that I was commanded to do at the time that I did it. But she thanked me. And it felt good. And then it was a reminder that although the job that I had with raising my children was hard, it could have been easier had I have had someone there to help support me. My mother passed away when I was a young girl. But a lot of her lessons stayed with me, and they came and I used them when it was time for them to come for me. So it does not mean that you're going to help a young lady and she's going to She's going to get it right away. That lesson will come to her when it's time. When it's time for her, she shall get it. So, who's helping who? Who's showing who? Who's running who? Our children are lost. They're lost. Anytime you see a 10-year-old little boy walking around with his pants hanging down and nobody says anything to him, nor feels safe enough to say anything. When did the child become the boss? We can say the man, the system. Listen, my mom didn't care anything about any system, and I didn't either. And I'm not too far out of raising my children in the teenage years. I didn't care. Those are mine. I brought them here. We live in a world where they do so much of this protecting children. So they say they can't vote, they can't drink, they can't drive until a certain age. But the moment that they commit a crime, they give them the harshest sentences ever. What? Wait a minute, what? So you'll take a 14-year-old little boy, I was watching a documentary, 14 years old, and you will sentence him to 4 consecutive life sentences for being a robber. For robbery. 4 consecutive life sentences. And this boy is now 32, sitting still in jail for crimes that he committed when he was 14 years old. And nobody questioned him on how he was raised. No one. He couldn't drink until he became 21. He couldn't vote until he became 18. He couldn't drive in certain states until he became 16. But we can sure as heck put him in jail for 4 life sentences at the age of 14. In the Jewish community, he had just become a man. But they tell him as a little black boy, he's not Jewish. See, that goes somewhere else. We're not even going to get into that. We're not going to get into the Hebrewites. We're not going to do any of that. I'm telling you, as sisters, we got to be more responsible. We got to be. You have to do it in a way that is unapologetic. Every little girl that you see walking out there is your little girl. Yeah, even for those women who've never birthed children. You are a mother. You are a sister. You're a lawyer. You're a nurse. You're a health practitioner. You understand? So I encourage you. Grab somebody up. See a little girl and tell her, peace, young sister. Peace, young lady. That's how I do them. And sometimes I get a response. Sometimes I don't. Most of the times when I get responses, it's kind of almost like a relief. And they look at me like, are you talking to me? Yes, my love, I'm talking to you. I want us all to do better. Our ancestors are tired of waiting on us. We're walking around talking about Black girls rock and this rocks and Black lives matter and every life matter. And we still treating each other like crap. We still treating each other like crap. Like somebody owe us something. And the greatest gift you ever received was life and love. And it's nothing to love the people that you love. You ain't done nothing big with that. And I wish I had like a confetti popper going off. Love a stranger. Because we are all connected. Each and every one of us. So, practice that. Practice real, true, genuine love for something or someone that looks like you and the physical being. Sister to sister is who I'm speaking to. Sister to sister. You understand? The best example is you. If you walk outside looking like a tart, don't get mad when you see somebody else looking like a tart. If you walk outside with elegance and grace, no matter how you go or what you're going outside for. If you're going to the grocery store, go outside with elegance and grace. You understand? I'm not saying you got to be all dressed up and dolled up, but be a woman first. Be a matriarch. You understand? Be the queen in any environment that you go in so that you can enlighten and uplift young queens, because the world is waiting for us to take control again. Yeah, I said it, brothers. Please don't be upset with me. Because every man knows A happy home isn't a happy home until his wife or his significant other is pleased with herself. No matter how fly you believe she is, no matter how dope you believe she is, if a woman is not content with herself, she will never be fully content with anything that you say to her. And there will always be a void. I've been there. I've done it. Had the t-shirt and the stamp on my forehead to let everybody know it's time for us to stop talking and start walking and moving and creating and being. It's time. Way past time. So before you go judging another little girl, another little sister, another grown woman, because we have little girls walking around in grown women bodies. There's a shell. And inside there is a little girl who never got a chance to be a little girl. She was rushed into this thing called womanhood. And honey, baby, please teach them that there ain't nothing to rush for. It's going to be there waiting for you. All right. So that's it. That's my first, pardon me. That's my first scope. And I love you. And I am Sister Priestess Heaven. And you can find me on Instagram under Sisters in the Circle or on Twitter, Heaven07. I used to be on Facebook, but I don't do that. Too many things that I'm not really willing to look at and or participate in because I'm a light worker and an empath, so people's spirits cross me. And so I'm not going to volunteer for that. I don't know who this is. Alethea Gibbs, TDHHC. Go watch her. She just showed up. Much love to you, sister. And that's what we should do. I don't know her in the physical, but I know her in the spiritual, and that is my sister. So go view her, watch her. She just came on. She's live. I love you all. Peace and blessings. I shall see you again. Namaste.